At 4 a.m., I made a horrifying discovery in my son's basement. What I saw shook me to my core. I had no choice but to grab my grandkids and run for our lives. But what was lurking in the dark? You won't believe what happened next. Stay tuned to the end, because the truth is more terrifying than you can imagine. What I saw at 4 a.m. in my son's and daughter-in-law's basement made me grab the kids and run. The house was quiet, unnervingly so. The usual hum of the neighborhood seemed miles away. I had always been a light sleeper, but that night, something was off. The air felt colder than it should have been for a summer night. I tossed and turned in bed for a while, the silence creeping into my bones. Finally, I decided to get up and check on the kids. The stairs creaked as I slowly made my way down the hallway. The faint glow of the streetlight outside barely reached into the house, casting long shadows. As I reached the door to the basement, I noticed it was slightly ajar. This was odd. My son was a stickler for keeping everything locked up tight, especially at night. Curiosity pulled at me. I pushed the door open just enough to peek inside. The basement was dark, too dark for my liking. I stepped in, the cold floor sending a shiver up my spine. I called out softly, but there was no answer. I took a few more steps in, my eyes slowly adjusting to the dimness. Suddenly, I froze. In the corner, just beyond the old wooden table, I saw a figure. A tall figure, hunched over. It wasn't my son. It wasn't my daughter-in-law. It was something else. A shadow, too tall, too thin, with eyes that glowed faintly in the darkness. I stood there, rooted to the spot, my heart pounding in my chest. The figure turned its head slowly, its eyes locking onto mine. My breath hitched in my throat. I couldn't move. Then, the air turned colder. I heard a sound, low and guttural, like something was whispering in the dark. I blinked, and for a moment, the figure wasn't there anymore. But I could still feel its presence. I spun around, heart racing. The kids, my grandkids, were standing behind me, eyes wide, staring into the basement. "Grandma, what's that?" the little one whispered. I didn't answer. I grabbed their hands, pulling them towards the stairs. We ran, not looking back, not daring to make a sound. The moment we reached the top, I slammed the door shut. I locked it, my hands shaking. The kids were terrified, their faces pale, but they didn't ask questions. They didn't need to. I could feel it too, the weight of something unnatural pressing down on us. And it wasn't just in the basement anymore. It was in the house. It was watching us as I stood there, holding the kids close, my eyes fixed on the basement door, heart still racing. The house was quiet again, but it was a different kind of silence now. A silence that felt heavy, like the air itself had been altered. I could hear the kids breathing softly, their little hearts still pounding in fear. I tried to reassure them, but the words felt hollow, even to me. "Grandma, what was that?" the little one asked again, his voice trembling. I didn't have an answer. How could I explain something I didn't understand myself? The house creaked, the wind outside howling faintly, but it was nothing compared to the storm inside me. I looked around the hallway, trying to make sense of everything, but nothing felt right. The house that had once felt so safe, so full of warmth and comfort, now felt foreign. Something had changed. I knew that much. I didn't dare go back downstairs. Not then. Not ever. In the morning, when my son and daughter-in-law came home, they were baffled by the look on my face. But I didn't tell them. How could I? Who would believe me? I left it unsaid, choosing instead to protect them from the unknown. We stayed in the living room for the rest of the day, the kids clinging to me, both of us never straying too far from the light. The house was quiet again, but this time, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still there. I could still feel those eyes, watching, waiting. But whatever it was, it had retreated. For now. The kids slept soundly that night, but I couldn't close my eyes. I sat up, watching the door, listening to the sounds of the house, waiting for something, anything, to break the silence. But nothing came. At least, not that night. But in my heart, I knew it wasn't over. Not by a long shot.